UFC obviously plays favorites. Like at this point, it's not even like a joke that they play favorites. Like everybody knows they have their favorite fighters. They have the Conor McGregors, the Israel Adesanyas, but it's also very apparent that they also have fighters they just do not like. Obviously, a few of them in the middleweight division. Obviously, there's Dricus Du Plessis. The UFC hate him because he didn't take a short notice fight against Israel Adesanya while being injured. And then obviously another guy in the middleweight division they don't seem to like is Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland embarrassed their golden boy Israel Adesanya last month in a massive upset victory. He ruined the Dricus Du Plessis versus Israel Adesanya matchup that they were probably really looking forward to promoting. You know, it was going to have a big build. But instead, that one's over. That one's not happening. And obviously, the UFC are not a big fan of Sean Strickland because they just tried to make him take a 12-day short notice bout against Khamzat when in UFC history has somebody pulled out of a fight and then the UFC have tried to get a short notice champion replacement? Now, obviously, Islam Makhachev is fighting Volkanovski. Volkanovski is the featherweight champion taking a short notice champ fight, but that's a completely different scenario. They were going to get Sean Strickland, who is the current UFC middleweight champion, to fight Hamza Chimaev on short notice, where you'd have to defend his belt on 12 days' notice. You know, that's never happened in UFC history. Nobody's ever had an opponent pull out, and then they've gone, who are we going to get as a short notice replacement? Let's offer the UFC middleweight champion a 12-day notice UFC title fight where he hasn't had any time to prepare for an absolute monster in Hamza Chimaev that he's trained with. You know, they've trained at Extreme Couture together. They know each other. Sean Strickland knows that Hamza Chimaev is no slouch. You know, he knows that this guy's a monster. He said it himself. You know, there's videos of him talking about his training with Khamzat, that Khamzat is an absolute monster, how he would do amazing things at middleweight and welterweight, and that he's a big guy and all this sort of stuff. It's like, why would he take this fight on 11 days' notice? Like, it wouldn't make any sense for Sean Strickland to do that. Like, the UFC really just want to get Sean Strickland out of there. I do understand it to an extent, you know. Sean Strickland's one bad headline away from, like, completely making, like, national worldwide news and giving the UFC a very bad name. Like, Sean Strickland's like a ticking media pipe bomb. Like it's just tick tick fucking before Sean Strickland says some outrageous statement that all the media companies are gonna get behind and use that as like leverage to like say the UFC is like a horrible organization or mixed martial arts is a horrible sport, something like that. Like I get it to that extent, you know, Sean Strickland is a ticking time bomb when it comes to the stuff he says. But I feel like that makes him like sort of marketable in his own like weird way though. Obviously he's not like the guy you would want as the face of a company. You know, if the UFC was going to have like a media event or something and you had to pick like one champion or one like UFC fighter to talk in there and be like the face of the company, you definitely wouldn't pick Sean Strickland. That's you know, that much is certain. But like the UFC like clearly want to get this guy out from being champion. Like it's so obvious. Like they really just want to say, you know what? Let's get this guy fucking out of the title. You know, let's get this guy anywhere away from where he's like a mainstream star. Because yeah, I don't know. It's clear that they don't want this guy representing the UFC because they're really either that or they're still just salty that he went in there and embarrassed Israel Adesanya. You know, just put on a masterclass against Izzy on short notice. Maybe that's also another reason. Again, that could be the reason, but like they're really trying to get rid of him. I'm not just saying like Hamza would run through him or anything like that. But on short notice to give fucking Sean Strickland like 11 days to prepare for Hamza Chimaev, and especially because a few of them days would literally be him traveling to fucking Abu Dhabi. So it's like they're really trying to fuck this guy over. Obviously, he didn't take this fight because it would have made no sense for him. You know, if he did go in there and lose to Hamza Chimaev, his title reign would have been like 42 days, 43 days. It's like that makes no sense for him. Why would he do that? He needs to at least try and leverage you know, use that UFC middleweight title win and try and leverage it for some money or something, you know. But instead, the UFC are just trying to push him into like a short notice fight against a monster. Like when in UFC history, like would it make sense for a guy, especially a UFC champion, to fight an unranked middleweight for a title shot? Like Khamzat Chimaev's unranked. I know he is a great talent. I think he will be UFC champion in the middleweight division eventually, but it's still like fucking crazy to see in the UFC, like that an unranked guy is being offered a UFC title shot on short notice. Like, I know Sean Strickland's the guy who takes all these like short notice bouts. He fought Abbas Magomedov on short notice, fought Nasruddin Imavov on like 6 days notice, 5 days notice. But he's like the UFC champion now. He can't be doing that because Sean Strickland needs like a build up and everything too. Like, I know the UFC probably don't like him. They don't think he's marketable or something, or they think he's a ticking time bomb, like I say. But his fights always sell. Like his all of his press conferences, his interviews and everything, they always do big views. Like, I get that he doesn't say the politically correct things that the UFC maybe wants someone who represents their company to say. Like, I'm sure like I say, he's a bad statement away from making worldwide national news, but still, he always brings in the views. You'd think the UFC would like somebody like that, but I don't know. I still think they're very salty about Israel Adesanya getting embarrassed and ruining the Drix Duplessis Adesanya matchup that they were really looking forward to promoting, because it was a very marketable fight. There was already that face off, the promo's already there, they hate each other and everything. But now Sean Strickland went in there, embarrassed him, made Adesanya take time off. So there's like one of their big stars. He's literally taking time off now because of Strickland. So I don't know. I guess they have a lot of reason to hate him, but I think this is ridiculous, man. Like, I think Khamzat Chimaev's great, but he doesn't deserve like a short notice fucking title fight against Sean Strickland. I'm glad it ended up being Kamaru Usman versus Chimaev, even though he is a ranked welterweight, fighting for a middleweight title fight against Khamzat. At the very least, at least if he does win, if he does beat Strickland, at least there's like so many fresh contenders for Khamzat Chimaev to fight. At least it's not going to just be the same fight, same fighter. At least it's not going to be rematch galore. At least is what I'm getting at. Because I don't know, I'm sick of all the UFC rematches. So I'm glad Khamzat Chimaev had a fresh division with a bunch of guys he's never fought before. But yeah, I don't know. UFC are fucking wilding if they fought Sean Strickland defending his belt on like 11 days notice made any sense. Like, obviously, I think I can't remember if I mentioned this earlier in the video or not. I filmed a few takes because people like to vacuum in my house when I start filming videos. But Hamza, Volkanovski taking the short notice fight against Islam Makhachev, it makes sense. It's like a champ fight. He's not defending his belt on short notice. He's a lighter weight division, so he's not having to cut as much as like a Gaethje or Dustin Poirier would. But Sean Strickland's literally a defending champion. Like, why would he come in on short notice, like 11 days, and defend his belt against against Khamzat Chimaev? Doesn't make any sense. But yeah, the UFC are fucking wilding, man. Like, they're going crazy. Like, but yeah, at least Sean Strickland was smart enough not to take that short notice fight. Like, I'm sure that will be his next fight. I think Khamzat Chimaev will be Kamaru Usman, but you need a full camp to prepare for someone like fucking Khamzat, man. Like, he's not someone you can prepare for on short notice. Look at Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland just gets destroyed in there. And probably Khamzat Chimaev would destroy Kevin Holland either way if they were to fight, but specifically, like, it's not a fight you can take on that short of notice. Like, he's a fucking ragdoll. Like, Kevin Holland was preparing for Daniel Rodriguez, who didn't even wrestle at all. Like, of course he was going to lose that fight. And anyone who picked Kevin Holland was crazy, because there's no way he was ever going to beat Khamzat Chimaev on that short of notice. But, yeah, I don't know. UFC playing their favourites. I think Khamzat Chimaev is going to win this, and we will get that Sean Strickland fight. But to offer it to Sean Strickland while Khamzat's like unranked, and Strickland's literally coming 3 weeks, 4 weeks off beating Israel Adesanya, made no sense at all, man. But yeah, gotta feel bad for Dricus Duplessis in this situation too. I don't know what the fuck he's gonna do next because Israel Adesanya is taking time off, so Dricus is like pretty fucked there. But yeah, it will be Khamzat Usman winner versus Strickland. Hopefully Khamzat wins because that'd be a cool fight. Apparently their sparring is like two cats wrestling. But yeah, that's all I've got to say about this situation. Hopefully this video made sense. Like I said, I've filmed this like 4 times, man, so I'm exhausted talking about this. But yeah, yeah, people like to vacuum when I'm just start making my videos. So yeah, I don't know. People like to sabotage me. But yeah, that's all I've got to say. So if you made it this far into the video, make sure you give a like. Let me know your thoughts on the UFC offering Sean Strickland, Khamzat Chimaev on 11 days' notice. Like, when the fuck has that ever happened? When has a champion been a short notice replacement? Like, when has a title fight ever been a short notice replacement for a fighter on the same card? I can't think of a time that's ever happened. I've seen people say, "Oh, Sean Strickland's not that killer he thinks he is." It's like, why the fuck would that make any sense? Especially this was from a John Jones fan. John Jones refused to fight Chael Sonnen on short notice, you know, and he had like weeks to prepare. Sean Strickland got offered fucking Khamzat Chimaev. Completely different fucking matchup. But anyway, that's all I've got to say. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. I'm sorry if this was incoherent, but yeah. I made a few good points in the first one, but I feel like I forgot some of the points I made. I can't remember if I mentioned it or not in this filming, but yeah, that's all I've got to say. Thanks for watching.